back to Dylan's Little Hobbies, and in today's video, you know what? A couple of days ago, actually, I finished a little show called Steins, and I did a review for it. I will leave a link to it in the description below. I absolutely loved the show. What it was about, just as a quick recap, it was really about this guy who wants to be a mad scientist, thinks he's a mad scientist. Really, all he wants is friends. He accidentally makes a time machine using a microwave and a banana, and what happens is he ends up messing with time so much that he puts all of his friends' lives in danger, friends who he just gathered up because of this machine, and he has to then make a decision whether or not to save his friends or to go on with the future of science. And of course he saves his friends. He has to go and undo all of the bad stuff that he did, the stuff he messed with time, and hopefully save his friends' lives. It was a fantastic show, and something that I really liked about it was how sound the science was. It was really, really good, really understandable. It's probably the absolute best example I could ever come up with on how you could do a time travel story the right way. I mean, so many people, they create time travel in their stories. They, of course, set laws for it, and then they break their laws just for the sake of the story, and it makes no sense in the time travel universe. It makes no sense. And something that I liked about how Steins did it is not only do they make sure you understand the science of what's going on in this time travel universe, but you understand the laws, and they don't end up breaking their own laws for the sake of the story. In fact, they use their own laws to create a compelling story with these characters, and that's the most important part. Don't watch the show because you think the science is amazing. Don't watch the show because you like time travel. You should watch the show because of the characters, the character reactions, the characters' actions between each other, just the build-up of history. Every single character gets fleshed out very well. It's such a wonderful story in terms of that, and I absolutely loved Steins Gate for that. Now, that is just a quick overview, redo of my review for Steins Gate. Today, I am watching Steins Gate Zero. What is Steins Gate Zero? What is Steins Gate? You know, some people will call it Steins Gate Season 0 or Steins Gate Season 2. What is it actually? Well, I can't really call it a reboot because it's not a reboot. It's more or less a continuation of Steins Gate, but here's the problem with calling it that. Steins Gate ended. They ended up at Steins Gate at the end of the show. However, there is like this weird and interesting moment in terms of the show, and again, you need to watch Steins Gate the first season to understand anything going into the show. So, spoilers for the original Steins Gate anime. I suggest, if you have not watched it, to go and watch my Steins Gate review and then watch it for yourself, because I am going to be spoiling Steins Gate right now. Without further ado, let's begin. Hopefully those who don't want to be spoiled are gone. Okay, so what happens in Steins Gate is there's this girl named Mokasays Kurisu, and she's really the start of the show. In the beginning of the show, the main character, Okebay, finds her unfortunately dead, and on accident ends up changing the time and bringing her back to life. He meets her, and they go through this whole journey that is very understandable. I mean, yes, it's kind of a love story between these two characters, but it doesn't start out that way. It's actually, what's really fun about the show is the characters' reactions to each other. Now, unfortunately, to save his best friend, the friend he has had since childhood, Miyori, what happens is he has to unfortunately go back and undo the timeline that saved Mokasays' life. And that's what he did. If you remember, there is this moment in the original Steins Gate show where it kind of jumps around. Unfortunately happens is he ends up killing her on accident with his own hands. My God. And what unfortunately happens is he comes back and then he gets a call from his future self telling him to go back, to trick himself that she's dead, and that will save her life. That will also save Miyori's life, because that means you won't be messing with time travel anymore. This right now, what we have in the story, starts out right there. This is before Okebay gets that call. Okebay just got back from unfortunately killing his best friend to save what could ultimately be his sister. They're not related at all. They're best friends. I always thought of her as Okubay's sister, and I'm pretty sure Okebay kind of thought the same way. I mean, Miyori really, really does actually love him, and we find out in the show that she actually really has a crush on him. Okebay never got that call. He never got the call from his future self to go back and change that. So it continues on from there. And something that I really like is in the original Steins Gate, he's pretty much jumpy, he's pretty much happy until Miyori dies. I mean, Okebay is, after all, hoen kiohma. Unfortunately, hoen kiohma is done. He's over it. He has saved Miyori, and something I like about is that hoen kiohma was always happy, was always wearing white, and was a true scientist, a true mad scientist, even though it's just Okebay trying to be. The fact is, in this series, he's always in black. He's forgetting the name hoen kiohma. He's just going by what he was originally called, Okebay. And something else is that he always looks like he's in funeral clothes. And that's something that I actually really liked about the show, was that it was pretty much showing, and you could tell, not by just the reactions, but by the clothes he was wearing, that even though, yes, she gave her life to save Miyori, it's really bothering him that he never got to save her. And the fact that he actually did it himself, the fact that he had the chance to save her and messed it up, that's really messing with his mind. Not to mention, don't forget, just think about this. People going to war, they come back and their minds are always a little bit messed up. Now think about what Okebay has gone through. Okebay has gone through thousands, maybe hundreds thousands of different times just watching his friends get killed in different timelines. He's a broken man with a broken mind, and worst of all, a broken heart. And that's something that I really enjoyed about the show. Okebay is going to school now. He's over at the lab. He hasn't even been there in years. Okebay ends up meeting this girl named Meho, and she works for this company called Amadeus. He goes there to work for it, and what ends up happening is the AI that they have created is the mind of Mokasays Kuroshu. Now, that was kind of trippy, and that's what I thought the show was going to go into. I didn't think we were going to have time travel anymore. I thought it was going to actually argue with the fact that Mokasays was a computer now and not a person. And granted, they did do that. It was actually a fantastic show because of that. Miyori was his motivation throughout the entire thing, and I really like that it's Miyori that tries to get him back into action. Miyori is the cause of why he wants to change the time. She goes through this whole series of wanting to be with him, but understanding that he likes someone else, knowing that she is gone. It hurts her to you see him in pain, and she wants to go back in time and change that. And it's because of her that, just like in the beginning of the show, just like in Steins Gate's the original show, it's her motivating him to change the time, to find Steins Gate, and exactly what he needs. And I like the fact that they did tie it in to what happened in Steins Gate, the original. It turns out that this is the story of that future version of okebay. He sends a message back to his original, telling the original that yes, there is a way to get to Steins Gate. All you have to do is you have to change everyone's mind. You have to go back in time again, and instead of killing Mokasays, you have to make it look like she was killed instead. And that's basically the key to changing time. That way Mokasays survives and Miyori doesn't die because of your time travel meddling. And that was just fantastic. I loved the whole story that they set up there. Anyway, I think I rambled on enough, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. I truly think that Steins Gate Season 0 was as great as the original. I kind of missed the whole scientific theories that was going on. Like, in Steins Gate Season 0, they made sure to explain exactly what the science of time travel was. They made sure you understood that so they could continue on with their story. In this show, they really hinder on the fact that you should have watched the old show to understand the time travel in this show. And I absolutely am okay with that. I kind of miss it. However, I still think it's a great show. If you guys have watched Steins Gate, but not Steins Gate Season 0, or Steins Gate 0, or Steins Gate Season 2, whatever you want to call it, then I highly recommend it. But do not watch this show without watching Steins Gate, the original. And if for some reason you still watched this video, I just spoiled all of Steins Gate for you, but there's a lot in Steins Gate that I didn't talk about, and there's a lot in Steins Gate Season 0 that I didn't talk about as well. So hopefully you guys go back and watch that, because it's a fantastic show. I really enjoyed myself watching. Thank you guys for watching, and I am out. Bye. You know the saddest part about all of this? I don't get to see these characters anymore.